Everyone, and welcome. I want to call to order the KPPA Audit Committee meeting, February 24th, 2026. First thing we'll have is the opening statement. Mr. Board, can you do that for us?
Yes, sir. This is a regular meeting of the KPPA Audit Committee. This meeting is being broadcast via video teleconference pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute Section 61.826 and may be viewed by the public at the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority offices at 1260 Louisville Road in Frankfort, Kentucky. It is also being broadcast to the public via Facebook. If you are speaking and not appearing by video, please identify yourself before talking. Please ensure that you are on camera when making or seconding a motion or casting a vote. In the event the video or audio broadcast is interrupted, we will attempt to reestablish a connection. If a connection cannot be reestablished within 30 minutes, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled to another date. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have roll call. Ms. Rankin?
Yes, sir. Mr. O'Meara?
Here.
Mr. Cheatham?
Here.
Miss Eves?
Here.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Here.
Miss Hampton?
Here.
And Mr. Summers?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is public comment. Ms. Rankin, do you have those for us?
Yes, sir. We did receive 3 public comments for this meeting, and I will read those. The first one is from Rebecca Cooley, and she writes, please pass House Bill 406. The next one is from Glenn Carty, and he indicates, I wish to express my strong support of House Bill 406 and equally strong opposition to House Bill 500. The third and last one is from Alberta Webb, and she writes, please support House Bill 406. Thank you for the opportunity to voice my wishes. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And we'll be watching the legislature as it goes through its motions through April. Next is the approval of the November 18th, 2025 minutes for the Audit Committee. Do I have a motion to approve, please?
So move.
Thank you. And a
Second.
Second. First and second. Now, any discussion, corrections, additions to
Yes.
the minutes?
Yes, I do have a question for Michael. Mary and JT are, I don't think are they voting members of this committee? I'm not sure. I know they both came on.
They are, yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments, corrections, additions? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is external audit issues. Mr. Lamb, can you introduce our guest, please?
Thank you. We have with us today Eid Bailey. They are going to go through the audit plan for the GASB 6875 reports. You've met him before. This is Leland Miller. He's the partner out of Idaho for their firm, and so I'll turn it over to him.
All righty.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Mr. Miller.
Oh, thank you. I'm assuming everybody can hear me. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Well, I'm coming from the state of Virginia. Appreciate this opportunity to be able to visit with you. No, I have not moved. Just busy visiting other clients and everything. But we really appreciate this opportunity just to take a few minutes of your time and just kind of briefly go over the second half of our overall audit work that we provide to the Kentucky systems. The first one is, of course, the annual audit with the ACFR. This one is for the information that is necessary for the employers to have the information they need to do the reporting for the pension as well as the OPEB. So this is, if you want to see a lot of numbers, there's over 200 pages worth of numbers and wording and everything. you know, go at it. There's a lot of information there, but this is basically to help facilitate the employers from an efficient perspective. Because if we these without these reports, each auditor for the different employers have to do a certain amount of testing and everything. And so, you know, this goes a long way in helping out with that process. Joining with me today is Roger Alfaro, who was the other partner that was involved with the audits, as well as we have Kelly Berge, who is the senior manager, and she oversaw the overall process and getting through everything to be able to get you these reports. We want to thank Mike Lamb as well as Connie and others as we were trying to go through all this and getting us the information and so forth. And so just based on the packet that's handed out, it's basically pages 12 through 200 and some odd that has all the information. What you're seeing is a draft. We are not anticipating any significant changes. If there is anything, it'd be more of formatting, cosmetics, and so forth. We happen to notice, and I don't know if anyone else will see it, but we have in one of the reports that you guys are located in Boise, Idaho. I didn't know if you guys realized you're moving there, but we will fix that as in one of the headers for the report. Um, so basically, these reports are made up of what we refer to, the big first one is the allocation, and that just provides allocation percentages for the employers to use. And then the system also includes what we refer to as the schedule of collective pension amounts, and that provides a lot more detail and information. The reason are these are one of our largest reports between both the K and the C systems is because you both have hazardous and non-hazardous. And so, so this is all these reports are in there. We give an opinion on certain elements of the financial information, and so we give an opinion that the allocation reports are materially correct. We'll give an opinion that we provide the not only that there's the net pension liability or there's some other assets and liabilities that the different employers use as part of their reporting, but we'll give an opinion on those amounts, and that's based on three basic steps that we do. Our first thing that we do is we do what we refer to as census data testing. So we'll take a look at the information that's on the census data report. We work with the employers and agree those amounts to supporting documentation because it's that data is what the actuaries use and is driven to do your pension liability calculation and be able to provide all these numbers. The second thing, of course, then is that we look at the actuary reports. You know, they're the true number crunchers and everything, and they provide a lot of the information for the different schedules and everything. And then the last thing, of course, we go through and we review the reports, review all these schedules on here. We do test recalcs just to make sure that the calculations are being done correctly. So after going through all that, we give an opinion on the data that's in these different schedules. And so we're happy to report for all four separate reports. We're giving a clean opinion on those the information that is being presented here. The other thing that is also included on our report is the fact that we go through and we evaluate the internal controls over the systems for these reports. That's one thing that we also focus on when we're doing the census data testing is that we inquire into the controls at the different employers. Now, we don't do any testing or any, look at support or anything, but we do a questionnaires to make sure that, they have at least the adequate controls because we're relying on those controls for the information to be given to not only to you, but also for what we are looking at for any actuaries for the calculation. And we're happy to report that nothing came to our attention as part of our reviews of internal controls that we needed to give a report to the committee. So that's kind of a brief overview of everything. Wasn't going to go into much more detail of looking at the financial statements or at the schedules and everything. You know, for the first time, we appreciate everyone's efforts to get to this point. And I guess at this point, I'd open up for any questions anybody has from the committee.
Well, I know how important this is to our employers in order for them to have the information they need for their financial statements. Appreciate all the work that you all did and the timing to accomplish all of that.
Miss Eves has her hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Sherry. Leland, I am a somewhat newer person to the committee, and I got confused. The first page said this was to the Kentucky Retirement Systems, and then it goes into the CERS. You know, we had this major
I'm sorry, Miss Eves, I can't hear what you're asking. My bad.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little bit better. I'll try to crank everything up.
All right, and I'll speak up as well. Sorry.
Okay.
I noticed in the first page that we got, it said to the Kentucky Retirement Systems. And as you probably know, the Kentucky Retirement Systems went through a fairly significant reorganization, I guess in 2021, and creating the KPPA as the administrative arm. And I'm confused, and the significance of it is to whom things are addressed oftentimes in litigation is important, because the courts will consider who the audit is commissioned by, who it's reporting to, as to its significance of the parties. And I'm confused about, first of all, Michael Board, is the Board of Trustees, we are a Board of Trustees in the Kentucky Retirement Systems and the CERS. But is the KPPA, is that a Board of Trustees or a Board of Directors?
It is not a board. The KPPA board is not a board of trustees. It is a board of, more like a board of directors, as you said. They do not manage a trust.
Okay. And the second thing is in that line of thinking, is this audit commissioned by KPPA or is it
Yes.
commissioned? So the report is to KPPA, not to the, I mean, we're.
Let me, can I step in here, Miss Eves?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that title on the introduction page of the independent audit report should be addressed to the county employees retirement system. So there's two reports. There's one for county and there's one for KRS, and they should be addressed specifically to the Board of Trustees. KPPA is responsible for hiring the audit firm that does the ACFRs and the related GASB reports. But the reports now are specific to the C Board and the K Board. So that's just on this draft that to the members of the, should be to the CERS. Their second report, which is further down, should address to the KRS.
Okay. So that's just a correction that needs to be made.
Correct, yes. But the KPPA, as the administrators of these systems, is responsible for hiring the auditor that performs these functions on behalf of the two systems.
Okay. Well, all right. And thank you for that clarification. That, I think then not only is that correction needs to be made, but I think I would ask the auditors to go through and wherever there's a reference to or a definition of, or reference to board, that it say Board of Trustees, or at least, because I got really confused in terms of to whom it was, we call it in law the relationship of privity. In other words, is there a relationship between what organization to the auditors and to whom are the auditors reporting? And as I say, that's important in especially.
We will go through and do a review and make sure we've addressed all those. So thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, as I say, it's a Board of Trustees then to whom you are reporting. Well, there are two boards of trustees.
Right.
You're reporting. And the second line in terms of, you were referencing that there's no reference to a report on the state police plan trust fund, which is part of KERS responsibility. Why is there no fifth report on the state police?
So the state police is a single employer plan, and there's no allocation that's needed between multiple employers. So these are the CERS and the KERS plans are multiple employer plans, and therefore there's a report that needs to be done to get the allocations for the individual employers in that plan. But state police being a single employer does not need to be allocated out.
So this is the whole thrust of this is allocation then,
Correct.
as opposed
Yes.
to an audit of which in other situations, even single employer plans, but not in this case. I understand. Okay, thank you very much.
No, we appreciate the questions. So,
Okay, can I do a follow on? Mike, should there be a formal, even if it's a CC, to the KPPA of the two reports?
So the intent here is at the upcoming CERS and the upcoming KRS board meeting is that board, those individual board of trustees will approve these reports. And then being that this is the audit committee, most audit things go through
Okay,
audit related to audit. This will then also flow up to the KPPA board for probably notification and publication.
okay, that
But
makes sense.
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Well, I have one for the committee. We can either have one motion to approve both the C and the K appropriations, or we can have two votes, one for C and one for K. I have a motion to approve both at the same time, if that is acceptable to the committee.
It seems like that's the right way to go since it's KPPA Audit Committee
All right.
and there's no objection.
So is there a motion to accept the CERS and the KRS draft proportional share audits as presented with corrections and to forward them to the KPPA board for approval?
So moved.
So moved. Second?
And first and second, any further discussion?
Well, Bill, I
Yes.
think he said we don't go to do we go to the KPPA board for approval or to each of the systems?
So each of the systems will be, Bill, I would maybe modify that motion to say to the KPPA board for publication upon approval by the C and K boards individually.
Thank you, Mike. I think you said that what I was thinking, but didn't say it as well as you did. Thank you.
Did the first and second, do you all accept that amendment?
Yes, I
Yes.
do.
Yes.
All right. All right, so we have a motion first and second as amended. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. All right, thank you. Let's see. So thank you, Mr. Miller and your staff. We appreciate you bringing this to us.
Bill, one thing, while we're talking about corrections, on that first page that we've got up on the screen here, it says to the members of the Kentucky Retirement Systems. I understand that's going to be corrected to say CERS, but it says when we say members, we actually mean individual retirees. Is that?
that's the intent of when we say that. Yes. Now, if you want to change that, we can address that to the respective boards, just so that that's just clear for everybody of where these reports are and who's approving them and so forth. It's fine on our end. So.
Well, I think I would ask that correction be included as well, because as I say, I think it's important to know to whom these audit reports are addressed and who they are providing information to.
And we'll go ahead and make that change that they're Um,
The
we're
boards of trustees
referring to the respective boards.
and boards of trustees.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Very good.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller, and your staff. We appreciate it. Next on the agenda is Office of Legal Services and the Information Disclosure Incidents. Mr. Goodrich, would you walk us through that?
Absolutely. Good morning. We had four possible disclosures that we investigated during the second quarter of fiscal year 27 or 26, excuse me, getting ahead of ourselves. And two were found to implicate the data disclosure notification policy. We had no HIPAA or high-tech or state law disclosures, and two were not found not to be a disclosure or a breach. The two disclosures, one was a issue with a programming issue where deceased members' information was populating into a form that members were filling out online, and our IT folks were able to fix that. The other was a manual mailing issue where another member's information was included in the mailing, and we corrected that through notification and notified the affected member through our established processes. Happy to answer any questions, but those were the two issues that we saw in the quarter.
Any questions for Nathan? Thank you, Nathan. Let's go to anonymous tips. Ms. Hold, will you walk us through that, please?
Absolutely. Good morning. I'm Stephanie Holt, investigator in the Office of Legal Services, and this document reflects information related to the fraud tips since the last audit committee meeting that was held in November. We received 3 new tips, and we closed 2 of the tips after review, and one of the tips is currently being monitored by the Office of Legal Services. There was a review that was conducted by IT security, and there's some additional activity that's happening with member support, so we're just monitoring that one. For the other 3 open tips we have, 2 involve employer reporting and 1 involves allegations of disability retirement fraud. Scroll down to the other side. And then we closed those 2 tips since the last meeting. 1 involved prearranged agreement allegations, and we closed that after the Office of Legal Services gathered additional documentation that did not support the allegation. And the other involved a Social Security disability fraud, and we contacted the tipster to provide the correct contact information to report that type of fraud. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions?
I was going to look it up in the minutes, but I think I can do it quickly by just asking Lyle. Lyle, in the minutes, you had asked for additional information. I forgot exactly what the additional information was, but I could pull it up it's in the minutes. And my question is, did you get the additional information, and were you concerned or satisfied?
I have not gotten that information.
Okay.
Now, in fairness, it could very well be sitting in my state email account, which I haven't had an opportunity to look at. If it is, I'll check it. But as of right now, I have not seen it.
Yes, please do look. We did submit that, and I received confirmation that it was emailed to you. And it was actually, Ms. Hampton, a breakdown of the complaints by year for the tips and what was a C, what was a K. And so we compiled all that information, and I think that was emailed, gosh, it's been quite a while. So if you did not get it or we need to send it again, please let us know.
I got an email acknowledging that somebody was working on it, but I haven't seen the result of that work. If you don't mind,
Sure.
resend it so it moves to the top of my box.
Absolutely. I'll definitely do that. Because we I was under the impression that it was already sent to you and we got that. So we'll make sure to get it to you and to
I have
everybody.
not looked at that email account in the last week. So if it came,
It's been before that.
yeah, then I did not,
Okay, then
just didn't get it, something.
I'll make sure that it gets to you. Like I said, I apologize for that. I was under the impression that it's been several weeks that we'd sent that. So we'll follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions on anonymous tips? All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have a full agenda on the Audit Committee administrative updates. Ms. Coffey, will you start us through that, please?
I will. Good morning. Just confirming everyone can hear me. I know there were issues earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you have any issues, just let me know. I have people ready to step in case that happens. So the first thing that we are looking at are some updates to the Audit Committee charter. Most of these updates are the result of some changes to the standards. So we updated the wording in the charter to reflect those new standards. But I will draw your attention to the ones that are separate from the standard updating. So Sherry, if you can go to the next page. So this update relates to updating the composition to where now C and K can appoint one non-KPPA member to the audit committee. So we've added that in. So that's this change. And then the other change that's not related to the standards, Sherry, if you can go to page 218, I believe that's what I've got. Yes. So the last time we looked at the charter, there was discussion on how often does the charter need to be updated? Do we need to see it every year? Do we need to see it only if there are major changes? How often do we want to review this? So I took a stab at some wording and I added this in, open to suggestions. But the way that I've put it in is that we will review the charter every 3 years, or if there's a major change to the charter because of standards updates, if there is a majority change to the committee members, or if they're audit committee members, or a majority change to the KPPA board members. So those are the changes for this charter. Open to questions or suggestions on this addition.
Ms. Hampton has her hand raised.
Hi, Kristen.
Yes.
I need your help. Oh, am I muted? No. Okay, I need your help. This is when I got the package, it's the first time that I had seen these. And I just, when I look at some of the principles, a lot of them are truncated. And I would be very interested in, I assume that this came from the National Association of Public Auditors or something like that, but I'm not sure. And I would also like to know what the discussion was that they had before making these changes. So I would, to be honest with you, I'd really like to see that before I would vote for approval, because I want to make sure that we're not, that it's clear what the meaning of the standards are, especially when I look at truncated things. I want to know what did it used to mean and what does it mean now. So I know that's a lot of work, but I really would like to see that.
I mean, we can absolutely send you a copy of the standards. I mean, that's what we have available to us. I can send you what we have available, yes.
Okay. Could you write somebody there and ask them maybe for their minutes when they made the changes, something so that I could understand why the changes were made?
This was an international they brought in the international standards. I just know we were told these are the changes. I'm not even sure when they meet. I mean, I can reach out to the local chapter and see if they have information. Okay. I don't know that even they would know, because this is these are the national standards.
Well, somebody didn't sit there in an office and say, let's change these. There was obviously some discussion to get here. And so at whatever level, I would really like to see it.
I will do my best to find that information.
Thanks.
I have one suggestion. I don't know if it's relevant or not, but usually when these things happen, there are articles that summarize the changes in professional periodicals, or so that might be what kind of background that Ms. Hampton is looking for.
I mean, that I can provide, but minutes to a national meeting, not sure I can get my hands on.
No, if there's an article that explains why they changed it, that's perfect, because then it's in English.
Any other questions or suggestions? Ms. Hampton, you have suggested that we do not approve these today, that we wait. Is that correct?
Kristen, do you see any urgency in? I think I'd like to understand why.
I do. So the standards are in place. We are required to follow them. I mean, so this is updating our charters in order to comply with that. So I guess the urgency would just be, until this is passed, we could potentially be considered out of compliance with the charter, with the standards as it relates to the charters.
Well, I'm sorry. I just, I want to understand why. So, like I said, when we're going from demonstrate competency and do professional care is a pretty important thing. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. It became a exercise, the professional care. So I just want to understand it. I mean, I'm a CPA. Bill's, it's important. So you can tell them that it's not that it hasn't been passed, but that your board wants to understand more. And with that, I'd like to move that we table it. If it's an emergency, have an emergency meeting after we get the material. So I've made the motion, so it has to be a second.
Second.
Okay, motion to table. I'm trying to remember my rules. I don't believe that's debatable. Is that correct?
Correct. There has to be a vote at this point.
Okay, so all in favor to table the amendments to, which one are we talking about? The charter for KPPA Audit Committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, so that item is tabled.
Bill, Kristen, do you know when the change in the charter or the change in the standards, effective date of that change? Or did they they pass it one day and then say in 3 years you have to update your
No, the standards were effective last January.
Of 2025 or 2026?
Yeah, 2025. Sorry, so 2 Januaries. I did say last January. And then they became effective January 2025. There had been discussion about it prior to that. I mean, they didn't just say, hey, here's the new standards. There have been discussions. They were effective in January of 2025. We were still researching changes that needed to be made. And then this is just the first opportunity we've had to bring this back to the committee with the changes.
And is there anything in your practice that you either have changed or think you need to change, or?
No, so it did not result in any, the biggest changes, it's really, I mean, when you look at it, if you take what did it used to look like and look at the standards now, it does look significant, but really it's just they added more detail, more explanation, better examples of how to meet the standards, and they made it international so that it is applied internationally as opposed to just here. That was the biggest change, was to make it comply internationally. Okay. As for our processes and things we're doing, there were no major changes to any of that. We've added a few additional comments, maybe in a report, just to acknowledge that we comply with the standards, but it didn't require a change to anything that we are doing. In other words, what we were doing complied with these standards. It complied with the old ones, we complied with the new ones. There was just some wording that needed to be added to the charters.
That's even better. I think, to support Lynn's suggestion to table. Thank you.
You're welcome. I believe Mr. Cheatham has a question.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I believe I was on mute. I just want the record to reflect that I voted no on the issue of tabling.
Okay.
Make sure that
well-
gets noted in the minutes. Thank you.
Well, this goes right into the next item on the charter for the Division of Internal Audit. So do you want to go through it, or what does the committee want to do?
Well, why doesn't we talk to Kristen and say, on this, is it the same kind of thing that you're updating it? I mean, I guess the biggest issue, Kristen, is this is the first time I've seen it, and I'm uncomfortable voting for something like that. And so, tell me about this one, and is it better to tell it later after you've got some?
So again, most of this is being updated to reflect changes. Again, it changes the name of the standards to reflect the new name. We were required to add a purpose, which is added. It required the addition of the authority, which is on page 222, Sherry. So that statement, just the red line part was added. That other stuff was already there. This was just adding this to address some wording that's in the standards. Section B there, instead of now being called purpose and objective, they want that titled as role. So we've added, so most of it, yes, is updating based on language in the standards. There is, Sherry, if you go to page, I'll find it. It's the audit process. I'll find that page. Page 230. So this is a change not based on the standards. This is a change based on a request with a discussion with KPPA management. This is where we outlined steps of the process, what happens during each step, and management had requested, we had worked on this with prior management, and then there have been some changes there, and they had looked over this and requested some changes to that process. So that's what's reflected here. And the biggest change, I know it looks like a lot of changes, but that's just because there were a lot of words. The biggest change really with this is when are the preliminary findings discussed with executive management. So before, we would discuss preliminary findings with the people we were working with, and we were relying on them to share that up the chain. This is just saying that we will make sure that that information is shared. So we will include them just to make sure everybody has that information. I know it looks like a lot of red for that statement, but it just calls some rearranging of when stuff is done. But that's that biggest change to that.
Okay.
And then it also adds at the end, again, the revision. And Sherry, that's on page 232. But the wording is the same as in the audit committee charter. And when it will be. Oh, and we updated the audit plan process to follow the process that was put in place last year that we followed. So those are the changes not related to the standards.
Okay. Bill, I guess I feel the same. I want to be able to talk and understand, okay, we're saying this, what if we didn't do it? Just some things, when we have an audit charter, this is what we do. And I really want to make sure we look at it more than just reading it in the document and coming into the meeting. It's just, maybe you and I, or me and Lyle, somebody can talk to her and go through and say, okay, what if we didn't have this? Just really get the charter understood, the changes. So I would move that this is also tabled with the other one.
All right, we have moved to table. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, move to second. That's non-debatable. So we'll go to the vote. All in favor to table, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no.
No.
All right, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. So, Mr. O'Mara,
Yes.
Mr. Cheatham,
No.
Miss Eves,
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson,
No.
Miss Hampton,
Yes.
and Mr. Summers.
Yes.
You have 4 yeses, 2 no.
All right, so that's tabled.
Okay.
So we'll bring the charter amendments back to the committee next meeting as a goal.
That sounds good. And Bill, can I suggest that we're going to have a meeting with Kristen? Is now 2 people not a quorum? I was going to say if we could talk to her about it in that meeting and then bring our opinion back to everybody else.
Well, we can certainly talk to Kristen about it and then decide.
That'd be great. And if get that the information for me to read, I would appreciate that too, Kristen.
Absolutely.
All right. Internal audits next through as of December 31st.
Yep, that's me. So nothing super noteworthy here. We're right on track. We've gone through about half of our budget. Kristen has some notes below, but we're still on track for all those. Do you guys have any questions about the budget? Hearing none, I'll move on to the next one, the status of current audits on 235. So we have a few things here that are colored red in that last column, and on the following page there are notes explaining why those are over. Are there any specific questions about those items or anything else on here?
They're informational. Anyone have any questions? All right, thank you. Hearing none. Kristen, where do we go now to follow up on open items? Is that next?
That's what I've got as next. So
Okay.
Sherry, that starts on page 239. At least that's the cover sheet. So this is the item that we look at every year. So in January, we run a report that shows all recommendations that had an implementation date of December 31st of the prior year. So in January, we looked at everything that management had submitted an implementation date of December 31st, 2025 or earlier that we were not yet showing as closed. It could mean that the action hadn't taken place yet. It could mean that it had taken place, but it just hadn't been relayed to us. So this is just a follow-up, and then we report that out to the audit committee. So Sherry, if you will go down a couple of pages, I'll give you an actual page number, 243. So this is the list of the items that were open. So there were 31 open items as of December 31st. So we worked with executive management. We sent them this list, asked if there was anything that, if they had taken action, if so, could they provide us with that? So if it was a policy that needed to be updated, could they provide us with the new policy? If it was a reconciliation that they had started, could they send us an example so that we could look over it? Or if they needed additional time, could they just let us know when they believed it would be completed? And after that discussion, there were 19 items. Those are the ones colored in that kind of orange color. There were 19 items that remained open. Most of them, I believe, have a new date of April of 2026, but they all have a new date within calendar year 2026. But if there are specific questions about any of them, I will do my best to answer, but I also know that Mike Lamb is available in case it's a question he needs to answer.
Any questions on this item?
Thanks for the information.
Yeah. So that was informational. Where do we go next? To inventory observation?
Yes, please. And Sherry, if you will go on to page 249, we'll start there. So this was a look at the inventory that is conducted by KPPA staff. Calendar year 2025 was the first time a full inventory has been done in several years. And former KPPA management asked that we, internal audit, be involved in that process so that we could see if there was any changes that they needed to make, anything that they were doing that didn't need to be done, something they weren't doing that should be done before they finalized these procedures. So we looked at the process, we were involved in it, and we had a few recommendations for them to consider as they moved to finalize the procedures. One of them was that first one was that the APA is required to be contacted before an inventory takes place. So it was just a note to let staff know that as they're documenting their procedures, make sure they hit that point. Another thing that we asked them to consider is the use of a master inventory list. Right now, each division has their own inventory list as opposed to one KPPA list. And that led to us seeing what appeared to be duplicate items, maybe one item assigned to multiple people or duplicate tag numbers. And with one master list, it would just be easier for those items to stand out. If there are items that are surplus, there's a form that has to be filled out before you surplus the items. So there was just a reminder, and Sherry, that's on page 250. Just a reminder to make sure those forms are filled out for any items that are surplus. And there are a few other items, but the other big thing we wanted to point out, Sherry, it's on page 258, was the size of the inventory team. This year, every division had someone involved. Our thought was that may have been a team a little larger than is necessary. And so we just asked that they consider reducing the team. It may help things go a little faster and have people who are able to focus and get the inventory done in a little quicker than it was done this year. Those were the big things that came out of that review.
So if we made it smaller, would it be a full-time job for the people working on it until they're done?
We suggested that maybe full-time, that it be their priority. Not necessarily full-time, but it be a priority for them. So have it done set a deadline and have it done by that date.
And I'm assuming you talked to the people, Mike, and other people that are involved and asked about that, and they said it would work.
We spoke with them, and yes, their answer is in here. They've said they will take the size of the team into consideration. Yes.
And Ms. Hampton, I'll just note that we are currently working on the procedures, and we hope to have those finalized very soon.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on the inventory audit?
Bill, can I go back to the previous audit, page 244 in particular?
244. Well, shouldn't we finish this one and then go back? Or is it related?
It's part of the audit of the investment office, apparently. I think it was the previous one we just covered.
Right. I'm asking if that is linked to this inventory observation audit.
I don't know. Maybe missing documents. Is that inventory?
All right.
No. I think these were two separate audits.
Yeah, they are certainly two separate audits.
Yeah.
Well, let me go back to that after we finish this one, if I may.
Okay.
All right. So is there a motion to accept the issued report on the 2025-8 inventory observation as presented?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
I second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no.
And I do have a comment. I bet Kristen is the happiest person that this is done.
You know, I may not be the happiest person. I bet there are a few other people who might be a little happier, but I think we were all glad to see this wrap up, and we worked well together, I think, on some things that can be done to help this in the future, and we'll see where it goes this year.
All right, so that will wrap up the inventory observation. Now, Lyle, you want to go to page 244?
Correct.
All right.
It's just, clarification, I guess, more than anything else. Indicated as of January 30th of this year, we're still missing 21 foundational contract documents for the compliance office with regard to the investment contracts. Said it represents approximately 3.6% of the total number of investment contractual documents with current investment managers. It is that 3.6% of the number of managers. What's that 3.6% of, and what are the assets involved?
Is Carrie Bass on here? That
I can speak for Carrie.
Okay. All right. Yes, I will let Mike answer that because I don't want to speak for his wording.
Yeah, the 21 missing documents are legacy private equity managers. They may be side letters, they may be amendments, they may be the contract itself. Our next step is to actually contact those managers to determine if they have the documents. Some of these may be 20 years old. Not necessarily. So they're documents, not managers. We're missing 21 documents out of, if you did the math backwards, 3.6% of that, we have 97% of the documents related to all of our managers. And again, most of these are private equity legacy managers, which we have very little new investment with, because when we had new investments, we got updated contracts. So this is an ongoing project. We've actually searched emails from past investment team members who are no longer with KPPA to try to find these 10 to 15-year-old documents. And we've exhausted that project. And the next one is to go to the actual managers that we still have a little bit of investment with.
Yeah, and Mike, if I could just add, if I understood Carrie correctly, none of these are contracts. They're all basically side letters or amendments. So we have the basic financial documents. We believe that we have them in email or on a server, but they're not centralized. So it's not that we don't have them. They're not in the new central repository that Carrie has done a good job of putting them together. And it's all private equity. It's only one asset class.
Okay, I understand, but that's where I guess my question headed. They have to do with these, in our case, approximately $120 million worth of legacy private equity investments that we're trying to figure out, A, how to get out of, and B, these are the ones that we keep getting these notices of fee changes and reductions because of extensions and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
Seems like they're going to be pretty relevant as we get into auditing those contracts.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's a great question. I asked it yesterday. So I wouldn't tie it to the full asset class, and really past this, we probably need Carrie. It's not the full asset class. It's all within private equity, but it doesn't represent, those 21 documents that are not in the central repository do not represent the full amount of that asset class. But if we want to go further, we can certainly follow up with Carrie and get that for you.
Okay. Just thank you for the clarification.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have the member benefit and disability benefit payment process audit.
Yes, and I'm going to turn that over. These were two separate audits, but they looked at the payment processes. Just one was focused on member payments and one was specific to those members on disability. But the process, once you get past that initial step, is essentially the same, so we combined them into one report. And I'm going to turn this over and let the two lead auditors who worked on these projects discuss the results.
Good morning, everyone. So like Kristen said, we had looked at the payments that were made, both for normal and the disability benefits. Just the process in which they are issued to members. Within that time span, we looked from September of 2025 through January 29th of 2026. Within the audit for both member and disability, there were no findings that we came across. And within both audits, that's all we had. Do we have any questions?
And then to expand on that, oh, sorry, Sherry, if you'll go back to where you just were, page 263, under commendations, that's a list of the items that those 9 items are items that we looked at. That is what we were testing to make sure was working. And as Zach mentioned, we did not have any issues. So we found these items were working as we expected, that the process was efficient. And a big thank you to staff for their help combining these 2 audits and answering our questions.
Well, we certainly like that kind of report.
Yeah.
I can add, that is amazing. That result.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, commendations to the staff performing the function and to your audit staff for going through and verifying that. So job well done, everyone.
Agreed.
I agree too.
Well, is there a motion to accept the issued report on the 2026-4 and -5 member benefit and disability benefit payment process as presented?
I so move, Bill.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Those pass. And now we come to the procurement process, non-investment.
So, and I will also turn this over to the lead auditor on this project. But again, we specified non-investment because there is a separate investment procurement policy for C&K. So we just wanted to make it clear that we were looking at not that one, that we may look at that procurement process in another audit, but this audit did not focus on that process. And with that, I will turn it over to Will and let him go over the results.
Yes, good morning. I am presenting the review of the procurement process audit. The scope of this audit was any purchases that were subject to obtaining a quote or contract that had a payment made in fiscal year 2025. And if you go to page 271, sorry, 272, we had 2 opportunities for improvement noted in this audit. One was related to frequency of vendor performance evaluations, and the other involved sharing procurement related information with trustees. Are there any questions about this audit or either of the opportunities for improvement?
All right. Any other questions? Anyone have anything?
I think. Go ahead, Kristen.
The only thing I was going to point out is this is the first report where you all are seeing a change to the format. After a discussion with management and conversation with Mr. Omar and Ms. Hampton, we have combined all findings. So instead of there being an audit report and now a management letter, where the management letter is where our opportunities for improvement were contained, it's now all in one report. It's easier for management to keep track of it, but each one is under its own heading. So the findings being the more significant items, observations still significant, but not an immediate action needed. And then opportunities for improvement are just suggestions to perhaps make the process a little more efficient. But they're now all in one report. And this is the first report where that new format is presented. So I just wanted to point that out.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, I just want to thank Kristen and the chairs. I think it's easier for the trustees and certainly us to have it in one document. So very amenable to that change, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. I like it.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the issued report on the 2026-6 review of the procurement process, non-investment, as presented?
So moved. Second.
I have first and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. That passes. And we have actually gotten to the end of our agenda, I believe. Anything else, Ms. Coffey?
I do not have anything else.
All right. Then having no...
I have one thing. And that
Yes,
is,
ma'am.
Kristen, I hope your son gets better quickly.
Thank you.
All right. Hearing none, I'll declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all, and thank everyone for all their efforts to bring this together.